Welcome back to the channel, guys. Last week I did a little tour of the center. This week I think I'm gonna give you guys a little tour of the 8270 bowling machine. To me, one of the greatest machines around, one of the most reliable, and probably one of the most safe. So if any of you guys have worked on 8230s or anything like that, you know what I mean by safety. So let's get into the video. We're gonna start out today at the front of the machine, then we'll work our way back. The front, there's a lot of moving parts in it. I'm gonna show them to you guys. I'm not gonna explain every single part and what they're called to you, but I'm gonna let you guys watch them run and what it does whenever the sweep and the table and everything else is running. All right, so we're at the front of the machine. I'm gonna turn it on real quick. I'm gonna let you guys kind of watch everything run and do its thing, and then we'll come back and I'll kind of show you what it is. All right, guys, so that was just a little quick run of what it does. Now I'm going to show you, start on this side. This right here, this is the sweep motor. Controls the sweep, which clears off the deck. And if you pull this little guy back right here, it'll run it. And if you pull this guy back, it'll run the table. Those just kind of control the things. There's a camshaft in there, and then there's these little guys that kind of tell it where it needs to stop, if it needs to keep going. This here is the table motor, which controls the table. And we will now control the table. That was the table switch. All right, that's just a little bit of the front. You guys got to see it, kind of how it works. Now we'll move up here. Up here, this is our chassis. This right here is basically the communication to the machine. It's what's telling it what to do. Whenever you run everything, these guys will come up and down when they're down. That means it's not connected. Of course, it comes up, makes everything run. Got our boards. I don't know exactly everything in there is called. That's just basically the brain of the machine. Now, anytime we're in these machines working on them or anything, we always take out the main power plug, because you can shut them off from the back, but there's always that chance that somehow they get fired up. It's things that happen. It's things that have happened. We've had machines come on by themselves before. We've had machines off in the back, and then they were able to still communicate from the front and turn them on, which isn't good. So we kill the power in the back at the panel, which I'll show you guys here in a minute. We also kill the power right here, the main power. And down underneath all this is all your capacitors and everything. Occasionally you get one that blows and it looks like a bunch of paper down in there. So let's go ahead and move on to the top of the machine, and I'll show you guys the bin and everything. Okay, so this is the bin. This is where all the pins come to lay to rest. Now you can see we have 2 in each one. We have a total of 20 pins. We set 10 on the deck, keep 10 in. So now I'm going to go ahead and run it. I'm going to drop some of these pins out. I'm going to let you see what it looks like with nothing in it. Okay, now you can see we have an empty bin. This is what they look like with no pins in there. You can see all the cups, you can see all the ears, you can see the guide. So we'll get down a little bit closer so you can see. Here's where the head pin comes into lay, which has got a guide to help guide it in there. Everything has a guide. If one of these get broke, there's a good chance the pin can become wonky in there or fall all the way through. So whenever it goes to set a full rack, it'll drop that pin through. So you got to make sure those are always good. But that's what the inside of a bin looks like that your pins lay into. So now let's go ahead and fill it back up with pins. All right, so that was a little bit of the bin and where the pins go to lay to rest, what the bin looks like without the pins in it. Now I'm going to show you guys what feeds the pins to the bin. This here is called the distributor, which distributes the pins into the bins. Let's climb down and get a little closer look. All right, guys, so what happens is, the pins come up the pinwheel, they lay down in the pan, come up the distributor, and they come up to the fingers, which if you look, this finger here is missing a roller, so we're gonna have to fix that later. But that roller guide it down into where it's supposed to go, and then when that goes down, which causes this to pull. When that pulls, it's kind of like shifting the transmission. When this pulls, it moves this, which in turn eventually comes back down here to the clutch. And then on this side of the clutch, it has that there, it's like, that's what releases it to go. Now, the distributor knows where to go because of this gear wheel here. The way it's made, that rolls it, and that basically follows the machine around. And that's what guides it to where it needs to be. Now, for the table. This guy right here is the table. This is what sets the pins down. This is also what picks the pins up. We have things in here called fingers, which will get you a little closer. Whenever the table comes down to pick up the pins, these close. Then it picks them up, when it sets it back down, these will open back up. I'll run you guys a little cycle, let you see that. Now if you watch, as the table comes down, fingers will close on the neck of the pin, pick it up, set it back down. That's how that works. Now these are the cups. Let me bring you down a full rack and show you those. These here are the pin cups, which is what holds the pins, what sets them down. Now if these pin cups are slightly back too far or slightly forward too far, it will cause a problem. They have to be adjusted just right for it to be able to set the pin down, because it sets it down and then it moves back a little bit to release it, to get out of the way. And if this is kicked back some, it'll try to pick the pin back up with it, sometimes throwing the head over. If this is too far forward, it'll set down, dropping the pin immediately. All right, now we're gonna watch it set a full rack. It's gonna distribute all the pins into the bin, hit the knife switch, drop it down, boom. And that is the table. To be honest, guys, I had finished the video, I was in the editing process, and then I realized I didn't show the table, I didn't show the fingers, and I didn't show the cups. So I figured I'd go back, shoot a couple little quick ones for it real quick, then put it in. Now let's jump back for it. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a bounce to it, but we're gonna do the right thing, pretend we didn't see that for right now. What's going on is the roller in that's going bad, so we're gonna have to change out that roller. The end of it, you gotta take it out, redo it. There's bearings in there. The carpet looks to be fine, but that roller does not. But besides the point, what happens is the pins come back or the balls come back, whatever comes back, this helps bring all the pins back, and then the ball comes back right into there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get a ball and I'm gonna throw it down here so you guys can watch this in action. All right, so you see, that's how that works. No, I did not bowl a strike. I am not a good bowler. So that's how all that feeds into there. Let's go ahead and clear the deck off. Let you watch it one more time. See the pins come back to the carpet. They come back to the pinwheel. Come up the pinwheel into the distributor into the bin. Then the ball goes right in there. After the ball goes in there, I'll show you where she goes next. Now, after the ball enters the ball door, it comes into here, which is where our ball lift is. which has a nice thick rubber belt. There's a kick down there. It kicks the ball up just a little bit. That belt grabs it, and then it runs up along these rails, comes up there, and then boop, boop. Let me show you guys. Now, once that ball climbs up the ball return, gets to the tippity top, then it's time to drop. It'll then shoot down here, which that right there is our ball cloth. That helps just kind of wipe some of the oil off your ball on the way down. You're welcome. Then it goes through, then it drops down these rails, which go all the way to the front. Ball goes to the back. See it set back there? Comes around. And it comes all the way back to the front. And now, I've gotten some pretty good questions on when your ball goes to the back, those guys that throw super hard, how do they keep from destroying stuff? How does it keep from destroying their ball or anything in the machine? I'm gonna show you guys that. This guy right here, this is called, now let's go ahead and take this back down. Boop. Pull it out of the way. Now you can see we have this. It's all riveted in with rubber rivets. You have this piece, and then you have this big old rubber piece right here. It's very, very strong. So when your ball comes back, it smashes into that, keeping it nice and safe and keeping everything good and everything from the back safe. Now, I feel like you guys probably get a pretty good idea on how the pinwheel works. It's just a big wheel with some other pieces in it. I guess I can show you. Here's what's helping pick up the pins. These guys here. The pin will set down in that and it'll bring it right up. This here is called a kidney pan. If this is too high, the pins can get jammed in there. If it's too low, the pins will fall out of there. So you got to have it adjusted just right. So once it gets to this height, because that's the height where they're going to fall, if they're going to fall. And then it gets up in here, rides along that, and then ba-doop, which you guys seen it run with the distributor run. Now, in between these machines is a bunch of pulleys and belts. We're not really going to get into that because a lot of it is for the ball lift and everything. So we'll take a quick look in here and say it's just a bunch of pulleys and belts, pulleys and belts. It's right here. There's a rod connected to it, and that's what lifts the bottom part to make it jump to help push the ball up to catch the wheel. This here, this shock is what helps move this arm back and forth for the paddle. So whenever you do throw a ball, I'll show you. You see it move back and forth. That's so whenever you have pins back there and a pin tries to go into the ball door, that will push it back out, allowing it to roll back and the ball to be able to come in. And now, basically our main power board, power switches, whatever you want to call it. This is where we control the machine for the most part. I'll show you guys a little bit about this, and yeah, we'll flip some switches. Okay, so this right here is the main power. We always flip that off along with unplugging the machine. So that's our main power. If this is off, nothing else back here is going to work. That's our on-off switch. So when this is on, flip that on, machine comes on. This is for our pit, our sweep, and our table. That way we can control them or shut them off. So say I have to come and set up a spare. I run up here, make sure it's in first ball cycle, flip down table. First, let me set a full rack of pins. I'll show you guys how I set a spare. Okay, so when we're coming to set a spare off of a full rack, we come up, we flip the table switch. That way, the table does not run on us, but the pit will stay running and the sweep will drop down. But if the sweep drops down and the table doesn't move, the sweep will no longer move. So we'll hit this button. Sweep came down. So now, if you can see, the sweep is down. We'll grab our pin fork and we'll set our spare up. So let's say you left a wild wonky one that you're not ever going to pick up. You left a 710. Good luck, buddy. Now, we'll come back over here to our panel. And all we do is we flip the table up. When we flip the table up, it will begin to run. Now, say you have that, but you need a full rack. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna walk up and you're gonna hit the cycle button. Boom. Cycle button. Now, let's say they call back and say, we need a full rack on lane 36, and you walk up and it's missing a pin, but it's still on first ball cycle. Well, if you hit that first ball cycle, it's just gonna run down and come back up. So what you gotta do is, if you're on first ball cycle, you'll hit that. That switches it. See, now we're on second ball cycle. Now I'm back to first. And then you switch it to that, hit cycle. And like that, you got a full rack. These here are your sweep commands. Let me get you a little position in better. This is sweep run. You hit that button, you hold that switch down, the sweep is going to continuously run. Now, if you have you got an outer range. Now, if you come up and you have an outer range and the sweep is down, what you do is you hold sweep reverse and then you hit sweep run. Because what that'll do is that'll bring the sweep back up the back way. Now, if you don't, if you walk up here and you just hit sweep run, you will clear that whole set of pins out, which a lot of times you don't want to do. That's just a little look on the control board. After doing it a few times, you get pretty used to it. It's not difficult to learn. These machines are fairly easy to learn. I've been around them for a very long time. I don't know everything because I did kind of take a break from everything, but that's just kind of a nice little tour of our 8270 bowling machines. I hope maybe this showed you guys something. So this is, I did this one because it's blue. Blue's my favorite color, and this is just my favorite machine over here now for some reason. And then this is the back of the pinwheel. This is another guard, so when the pins do come through, because some do come through and will come out of here. If you don't have this on here, you will get shinned. You will get hit in the knee or something by a pin from here. It has happened to me. I've been hitting the knee, I've been hitting the face. Not fun. All right, guys, so that was just kind of a little tour of the 8270 bowling machines. I didn't get too in depth on what everything was called, the specific names of everything, because I don't know them all. I'll have to go look them up in the book. But if you guys do want to know more of what things are called for some reason, we could do a video on that. It might take a little while because there's, I don't know, over 1,000 moving parts in each machine. So it's not just a quick to-do thing. And yeah, so that's just a little tour of the machines. We did the bowling alley, now we did the machines. What do you guys want to see next? Comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.
Well, I fixed the pins and I oiled the lanes. Got a toolbox full